Marshall fourth graders, I am so excited you're learning about fractions. One of my favorite math topics. I have an awesome book to read you called Fractions in Disguise. One thing I love about it is the main character is named George Cornelius Factor, GCF for short. Get it? Greatest common factor. Very fun. All right, let's read it. It's by Edwin Einhorn. Some kids collect baseball cards. Some collect action figures. Me? I collect fractions. I have been collecting them for exactly 2/3 of my life. Wish I could figure out how old he was, but he didn't give us enough information. In my bedroom, shelves of fraction cover 3/4 of my walls. Oh my goodness, you know what? I'm considering doing that in my wall, collecting fractions. I love it. Maybe it's because I was born during a half moon. Or maybe it's because I'm 1/4 genius, 1/4 stubborn, 1/3 determined, and 1/6 crazy. Well, let's make sure that this guy is doing correct math. All right, it says he's 1/4 genius. Okay, 1/4 stubborn. All right, 1/3, oh, I better check back the book. He's 1/3 determined, and 1/6 crazy. Let's see. Yep, his math was correct. I'll keep reading. But for me, it all adds up to one thing. I can't get enough of those darn fractions. So, when a brand new 5/9 went up for auction, you know I was the first in line to buy it. The 3 for the 5/9 is a thing of beauty. When you first look at it, it looks like a 1/2, but the more you look, you realize it's just a little bit more. Look at that. It is. All right, the room was filled with regular customers. Baron von Mathematic, Madame de Geometric, and the mysterious Dr. Broth, a former university professor rumored to have fired for the illegal possession of a 4/8. I bid $1/2 million. Madame de Geometric bid 3/4 of a million. Baron von Mathematic bid 7/8 of a million. Our bids were clearly approaching $1 million. Would we ever reach it? Suddenly we found ourselves in darkness. There's foul play afoot, said the Baron. His fears proved true. When the lights went back on, 5/9 was nowhere to be seen. Neither was Dr. Brock. Alas, he's stolen it, exclaimed Baron von Mathematic. He never gets his fractions fair and square, agreed Madame de Geometric. But how can we hope to hide it, I asked. Well, he's a master of disguise, Mr. Factor, Madame Geometric explained. He can take 1/2 and turn it into 2/4 or a 3/6. Still the same fraction, but it looks different. So I understand that he can take a 3/5, I began. Multiply the 3 by 4 and the 5 by 4, continued Madame Geometric, and have something that looks like 12/20, I concluded. But it's still 3/5 really, Madame de Geometric agreed. He just doesn't want you to know it. My poor, beautiful fraction, wailed Baron von Matrix. Don't despair, I said. I have an idea. That night, I worked till dawn. By morning, I had what I needed. A fraction reducer. What is a reducer? It's half ray gun and 1/2 calculator made from a whole lot of paper clips, a whisk, and some discarded computer parts, and sheer ingenuity. What does it do? It removes the disguise from a fraction and reduces it to its lowest terms. I tested it that morning. For a long time, I had owned a 1015, but I suspected that it could be another fraction in disguise. I pointed the reducer at it and I dialed a 2. The top number, or numerator as we call it in the trade, wavered, trying to turn into a 5, but the bottom number, or denominator, stayed the same. Dialed the 3, and the denominator tried to transfer into a 5, but the numerator wouldn't budge. Dialed the 4, nothing happened. Finally, I dialed the 5. The fraction changed completely. The 10 became a 2, and the 15 became a 3, leaving me with a sleek 2/3. The reducer was ready to go. Dr. Brock lived in a mansion that had to be 1/10 of a mile tall. When I rang the bell, he opened the door halfway. Let me in, doctor, I told him. I know you have the 5/9 in there, and I'm going to find it. Come in, he purred. Take a look around. You'll see there's no 5/9 in here. I went in. There were fractions everywhere, piled on shelves, bursting from cupboards, covering the floor. There was even an enormous 100/100th hanging from the ceiling. Quickly, I spotted my first fraud. That 3/21st, I said. It's really a 1/7, isn't it? I pointed my reducer at the fraction and dialed a 3. Both the numerator and the denominator were divided, and now I had a 1/7 before me, I suspected. That's a very, very, very interesting device you have there, commented Dr. Brock, eyeing the reducer nervously. Ingenious, really. I spotted another suspicious fraction. Could that be 5/9 in disguise? It was a 34/63rd, and it looked familiar. I dialed a 2 and a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nothing seemed to work. You can't reduce that one, said Dr. Brock. That fraction's already reduced to its lowest terms, I'm afraid. He was smiling in secret satisfaction, but he was right. The fraction was as reduced as it could be. I found a few more fractions that could be reduced. An 8/10 became a 4/5, a 2/16 became a 1/8, and 11/22 became a 1/2. But still no 5/9. Fraction pieces so small they were useless. I looked all around. I found a piece from a 1/28 and a 1/63 and a 1/92. The 5/9 was nowhere to be seen. There was something I was missing. Well, it was nice of you to visit, Dr. Brock began. I would invite you to stay longer, but I was about to polish all my This 1/63rd. Where did it come from? I interrupted. Oh, it's just a broken old fraction, said Dr. Brock. Quickly, I raced back to the 34/63rd. That tiny 1/63rd fit perfectly into it, making the fraction a 35/63rd. This was a fraction that can be reduced. Wait, no, said Dr. Brock. But it was too late. I had already pointed the reducer and dialed a 7. The 35 divided and became a 5, and while the 63 divided and became a 9, there it was right in front of me, the 5/9 I had been looking for. Well, very clever, said Dr. Brock with a sneer. I didn't think you had it in you. He raced up the stairs and unhooked a rope. Suddenly, the 100/100 above me began falling, all 100 pieces of it, looking like daggers. I dialed the reducers up to 100, aimed high, and I jumped for cover. A solid disc landed with a clatter and rolled away. The 100/100 had become a single whole, no longer a fraction at all. But Dr. Brock was gone. Baron von Mathek and Madame de Geometric couldn't believe it when I told them the story. You did it, Mr. Factor, the Baron cried, saluting me. The fraction is yours, said Madame de Geometric. You earned it. I put it in the most prominent place on my top shelf, right next to the reducer. Now every morning, when dawn comes, the first ray of light through my window lands right on the 5/9. Didn't look that bad. The end. You, Marshall students, do not even need a reducer because you are going to learn how to do it in 4th grade this year. See you again in a minute. Hi, Marshall 4th graders. Okay, fractions. Love them. So glad you guys are learning fractions right now. But as a review, because I know you've already been working on this, it's really important that you develop a strategy and how you're going to represent fractions, because this can help you with any type of fraction problem. So, for example, here are some ways to represent 3/4. You can do it as parts of a whole, parts of a set. You can use a tape diagram. See, I made them out into fourths. So 3/4 would be right here. Or you can use a number line. All great strategies. In the video, we talked about simplifying fractions, okay? If we're going to reduce fractions, such as 24/36, we have got to find the greatest common factor of the numerator and the denominator. So look, you guys are getting really great on your multiplication. You're doing reflex math. You know I'm going to get a plug-in for that. But look, 24. We can go 1 times 24, 2 times 12. Look at this easy chart you can make up. Okay, 36, same thing. Now I'm going to look here. The greatest common factor I can see is 12. It's here and here. So now we're going to go down here and we're going to divide the numerator and the denominator by the greatest common factor. So 24 divided by 12 is 2. 36 divided by 12 is 3. So the answer is 2/3. All right, you guys are going to get so good at this. I can't wait to see it in the fall. Hi, fourth graders. A lot of awesome YouTube videos on fractions. Watch them. They really will help you learn it and kind of some catchy songs. So we're going to end with a little number rock, simplifying fractions. Please follow along. As we watch, I'm going to be breaking up my graham cracker first into halves, then into fours. Just some fraction eating fun. All right, let's watch.
To convert 2/4 to simplest form. Write out of 2 and 4. Greatest common factor is 2. So divide them both by 2. 2/4 equals 1/2. And here's what we do. Convert simplest form. We find the greatest common factor. Then take that numerator and divide them by that common factor. To convert 4/12 to simplest form. Write out all the factors of 12 and 4. 4 is the greatest common factor, so divide by 4/4 to see. 4/12 equals 1/3. Convert simplest form. We gotta find the greatest common factor. Then take that numerator and denominator and divide them by that common factor.
Check it out now, simplest form and lowest term. Are synonyms which you may have heard are two different phrases or words. These definitions are uniform. Using a geometric model can help us learn what's happening when converting simplest form. A rectangle shows 5/15. The GCF is 5, which means no greater number can divide both 15 and 5. So divide both by 5, get 1/3. Slowest term. It's so boss being a nerd.
To convert find the greatest common factor. Then take